All right, welcome back to another episode of Fogdog and Basten. Apologies once again. I feel like this is kind of a recurring thing for the delay in getting this episode out. It's been about a month since the last episode. We had our coach, Jay Coliseus, on here in the last episode. We've obviously been on winter break. We're now both back at Drake. We're back for the indoor season, and we're looking forward to it. Basten, straight away, do you want to get us rolling with kind of what your winter break looked like? Obviously, if people don't know, you went out and broke 4 minutes for the mile right before winter break started. So kind of mid-December, you ran 3:58.8, I believe. I was technically in that race. I didn't really play a part. But yeah, you got that sub 4. Then we went on winter break. How was that? How was your training?
It was really good. It was definitely a confidence booster to get that sub 4 mile out of the way going into break. But then it was also that perfect medium because me realizing that it's not quite a national time, I had to keep grinding because I obviously have to keep improving that time. But at the same time, it's like, all right, that's a huge barrier to get off my back. Like now I know I can do it. And now I just have to cut a little bit more off to get that national spot. But really training started off really well. I got in my mileage. I was doing consistently like 85 to 90 miles a week. I got like one higher mileage weekend when I was in Florida. And man, that is, people talk about altitude training and how rough that is. Honestly, when we went to Colorado and did altitude training, I feel like I didn't really struggle that much with it.
Yeah.
But when I trained in Florida with the humidity, man, that's rough. Like I was going on like 10, 11 mile runs. And sometimes I felt like I wasn't even going to finish them, which was ridiculous. But like, I didn't even work out because every day my heart rate was like 175.
Wow.
On like 10 mile run at like 7-minute pace.
Yeah.
Just felt so challenging, but that was most of my training. Didn't really work out much. Got in a lot of mileage over break. And then kind of just like had fun catching up with family and, you know, watched some football with my parents. American football. Yeah. A little different, but it was a good time. Just have fun with family and see my little nephew, tiny little guy. But the training was still definitely huge. Got to do some workouts back in my gym. Didn't do a whole lot outside just because it's even colder when I was back in Minnesota, at least for that part of it. Yeah. But when I was in Florida for a week over New Year's, I did a lot of workouts outside and stuff. Well, not hard workouts, but runs.
Yeah.
So what'd you do this winter?
Yeah. So interesting. You kind of touch on the heat and humidity of Florida. I think it's mad because right now in Des Moines, where Drake is, we just had 14 inches of snow over the weekend, something like that. So nuts. Quite the contrast. But yeah, I mean, when we were in Florida for the National Cross, like end of November, winter was coming up and it was warm. So I can definitely imagine that, you would have had some good heat training. It was quite the opposite for me. I went back to England. Obviously I kind of grew up in Australia. My parents are now back in England. And I'd say I had a good winter of training. I mean, I did a few solid workouts. I didn't really feel great in really any of them, to be honest. I kind of was, a little bit tired. I think we had a pretty long cross country season. But in terms of like mileage and that kind of thing, I built up to 90 miles a week. And felt decent towards the end of it. And I've come back to America, like feeling good, kind of ready to get rolling with this indoor season. So I think hopefully we're both on for something pretty decent. I mean, I opened up yesterday with a 1K that we'll touch on a little bit more in a bit. But yeah, before we get to that, we've had a few kind of questions over, the last few podcasts, and we always, I guess, aim to get those answered. So we're kind of just going to touch on a few now just to kind of get those answered. So do you want to kind of start just with, I guess, diet? Diet's one that's kind of been talked about a fair bit. I know a few people have asked about it and kind of how your diet might change from, living at home or being in high school, going into college, kind of what did that look like for you moving in?
I love this question because I don't think people realize how important this is.
Yeah.
I think diet is massive. And that's kind of one of the main shifts that I've done in between the high school running and the college running is my diet. In high school, I would just eat like garbage. I don't know if anybody here knows what zebra cakes are.
What are they?
Like
Something
cosmic
black and
brownies,
white?
like
Oh,
little,
yeah.
little Debbie's garbage.
I don't know what that means, but
like
I've heard of cosmic brownies.
I would just eat like crap like all the time, but I've changed that up, obviously. I think I still eat like the same main meals that I used to eat. Like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll make my eggs, my toast, oatmeal stuff throughout the day. Like lunch is usually like turkey sandwich, like a granola bar or banana or something.
Yeah.
Or all the above, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And then dinner, just like normal stuff like chicken and pasta, steak, rice.
Yeah.
Like any of those just like main ordinary foods. But the key for me is not how much I'm eating, but what I'm eating.
Yeah.
And like, I can't even tell you the last time I've consumed any sort of dessert at all.
Really?
I just cut all that out of my diet. I don't think I've eaten a candy bar in over a year. I don't think I've touched a bag of Skittles or like M&Ms in this century. Like, it's just like, and it was really hard at first, but man, I feel like it really does make me feel better every day.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wish I could say the same, but I would say overall I've got a pretty good diet. I eat in the dining hall. I guess we've kind of had our ups and downs with the dining hall over our time at Drake. For anyone who goes to college, I'm sure you kind of know what it's like, you know, college dining halls. It's a bit of a mixed bag, I guess you could say.
That's for sure.
Yeah, sometimes it's really good. Other times it's, you know, not so great. But I think one of the big things like people worry about with coming to college is that, you know, you are going to be pushed to calorie count and watch what you're eating and, you know, make sure that you're never putting anything bad in your bodies. And obviously, Basten, you're a pretty prime example of that. I think you mentioned to me in the outdoor season, you've just cut out all added sugar, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is really for health, but you're not like obsessive with it in a way that, you know, touching any of it is going to really be detrimental. It's just something you've decided to do. But like in terms of having a nutritionist at college or things like that, we aren't like pushed to, you know, watch everything we eat. And for me, I always want to make sure, you know, I'm eating enough, I'm fueling enough, because at the end of the day, if you're not eating enough, you're going to feel rubbish in your workouts. You're going to get tired. You're going to be, you know, not sleeping properly. And I think sleep is another huge thing. There's quite a few things that you need to get right, but yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to diet. And it's not about how much you're eating again, because I eat so many calories a day. Like, got to consume at least over 3,000 calories a day, maybe close to 4 some days.
Yeah.
But it's just about limiting the garbage that you're putting in. Like if you're looking at the pantry and you're thinking, oh, it'd be bad for me to eat this, then you should probably not
generally. Yeah.
But I think my testament food, like if we're giving like foods that I have to eat every day and I love it, I love making smoothies. And like, not like smoothies where I'm throwing ice cream in a bowl and like blending it. Like I just have strawberries, bananas, and sugarless almond milk just because I'm lactose tolerant. So I can't drink regular milk, but just blend that up and it's so good. And like, sometimes too, I'll throw an ice cube or two in there, but man, that's
pretty cheeky of you. An ice cube.
Oh, it's crazy, but
it's the calorie count on them.
Yeah. But I think it's the perfect drink after a run, because after runs are over, I feel really dehydrated.
Yeah.
And man, I feel like that just hydrates me so much more than a glass of water does, which is really weird. But
I know exactly what you mean. I'm actually pretty big on smoothies as well. My mom, I think it was in 2014, she like saw one of those TV adverts for a NutriBullet. Bit the bullet, if you'll pardon the pun, and bought one. And then literally every day, pretty much almost every day without fail since I think early 2014, I've had a smoothie. For me, it's like bananas, usually 2 of them, frozen blueberries, coconut water, normal water. And then if I've got like chia seeds or at the moment, I'm having like sunflower seeds in there. I don't really know what they do, but I think maybe a little bit of like protein, fat, that kind of thing. I don't know, just a good way to like start the morning. But for me, in terms of like a typical day, it's honestly fairly similar, just like the dining hall standard, I guess. So
Yeah.
I usually have breakfast and lunch at home in my apartment, and then usually I'll have dinner in the dining hall. So breakfast is typically like oatmeal with a banana in it, with a smoothie. Lunch, depending on what we're doing in the afternoon, I might, sometimes I'll order Jimmy John's, or I'll get Subway, or I'll make a sandwich at home. If we've got a workout, generally I'll have like peanut butter and honey on toast or on a bagel. And then, for dinner, like tonight, it was like salmon with rice, a few vegetables, stuff like that. And I wouldn't say we're like really strict on calories, as you were saying, Basten. It's like you've got to eat enough. Generally, I try and generally limit like the garbage, I guess. And Basten, you've really gone the whole hog with that, and pretty much don't eat anything bad. But if you are someone who's got a bit of a sweet tooth, like don't feel like you can never have it. It's good from time to time to like treat yourself, I think.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Definitely. Moving on from that, what do we got up next?
Oh, moving on from that, just reminding everyone, I don't know if I've already said this on the podcast, but Alec Basten and I, we're not brothers. We're like, I think we're like distant cousins, but either way, it's just, we're not like closely blood related at all, but we just happen to have the same last name. But we are friends. We talk a lot, and he's a great guy. So,
that's another one that's been asked quite a lot. I don't know if it's been asked too often on the podcast, but like, I mean, today we ran with a recruit who might be coming to Drake next year, and pretty much anyone you meet when you're with Basten, it's like, oh, I've seen your brother running at Minnesota, Alec Basten. So just to clear that up, they're not, brothers. Moving on, another question, just kind of ripping through these questions here. Year in uni and eligibility. So what year are you? How much you got left?
I'm a junior, so third year here at Drake. But
crazy.
Eligibility wise, I would still have 3 years left, I think.
Yeah, because of COVID
and
extra year.
Man, it's crazy how much eligibility you can have if you really want to have it. But
we'll see on a mission trip.
See how much I use. Yeah. How about you?
So I'm a senior, which means that I graduate in May. Me and Basten came to Drake at the same time, so this is technically only my third year as well. But I graduate in May. I think from what I've been told, I could come back for cross country in like August of 2022. And then I could do indoor of 2023, but I don't think I've got outdoor. So more than likely, and the goal is to try and run well enough this indoor and outdoor season to hopefully get some sort of pro contract and go professional in America. I guess we'll kind of have to wait and see what happens with that. But senior, but technically, potentially one more year. And then moving on from that, people have kind of asked, we've touched on it a little bit before, but kind of for tips for coming over to college, more specifically for international people. But just quickly, Basten, do you want to kind of mention anything that you might have kind of noticed as a US high schooler going from US high school into college in the US?
Yeah. I think a big thing is patience. Because everyone's a stud in high school, at least if you're running at the college level, and you're not going to be a stud right away in college. That's just not how it works, unfortunately, unless you're Nico Young.
Yeah.
But so it's really it's about patience, just trusting your training, trusting the mileage is going to pay off eventually. And just don't worry about where the results are at the beginning, because like me, you can struggle at first and then really turn it around. So you never really know.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then from kind of a more international perspective, I guess, I honestly find this question like kind of a little bit difficult to answer, because I came over to college from Australia when I was 20, having lived in Australia for like 13-ish years at the time. And so obviously there is a lot of difference in the way, the way of life over here. But you don't really experience it fully because you're at college. So you kind of just move into this like college lifestyle, I guess. And so even though you are like moving into a completely new culture, everyone's kind of like reasonably like-minded. You know, you're moving on to a track and cross-country team, like you're a runner. And so for me, the transition from like Australia over to America, it was really pretty smooth, just like kind of slotting into college life. You know, I made friends, met the team, like we were all gelling pretty well straight away. Like it was a good group to kind of come in with straight away, in terms of like getting on with people and like feeling reasonably comfortable. And I think Jay, our coach, helped with that as well. Mark Carroll at the time as well. He was a decent coach, and then he left after our first semester. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think you just gotta like be open to new experiences, like come over. And at the end of the day, like if you hate being at college in a different country, you can fly home whenever you want. It's like you're not locked into like 4 years over here. You're not locked into 2 years over here. I think technically you are supposed to be locked in for a year, but like if you absolutely hate it, just go home. Like,
yeah, we've had people only stay a semester. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's a good time. I enjoy it. I think as well, you've just got to, I find that for me, I kind of just like float through life, like just getting on with things. Like if obviously there are going to be a few patches where it's like you might not be enjoying it as much as you felt like you should have been. But then, you know, track season or whatever will come around and you'll be racing again. And I don't know, you just gotta take it as it comes and know that there'll be good times and bad. And yeah, just try and enjoy it as much as you can. Cause as like cliche as it is, one day, like it'll fly by and you'll look back on it and it will more than likely be a fond memory. So
yeah, I think people think it's this like big scary thing, but I think once you take that step, it's really not as scary as you expected it to be. And
yeah,
it just seems like normal. Everyone kind of just wants to do the same thing you're doing. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, it's good. And in terms of one of the big things that I think a lot of people might be wondering about, our lifting schedule. So time in the gym. Do you want to kind of explain how we take that? Big man Basten with big biceps?
Yeah. Just doing curls all day. No. So the gym is, I guess, one of our lesser important things we do and scales of how often we do it.
Yeah.
We usually do gym twice a weak. I wouldn't say we like go all out in there or anything. It's more of just like developing some strength and like just keeping our body so we're not weak little turds out there. But I would say a lift that Fog and I do quite often is step ups. We take 25-pound weights. We just did this today. So
it's fresh in our memory.
25-pound weights, and we're literally just stepping up like
2 of them. So 1 in each hand. Yeah.
And we're stepping up on this plate and then like driving our leg up and then stepping down. And we're doing that 12 times on each leg.
3 sets.
Yep. And then we do some calf raises.
Yep. Some squats, generally just goblet squats, usually nothing too heavy. I mean, today we did 50 pounds, like 3 sets of 8, literally just holding the dumbbell, actually, not goblet, squatting down, 8 reps, 3 sets, like nothing super heavy. A little bit of like glute work, resistance band work,
some pull-ups as well.
Some pull-ups. Yep.
And then my testament lift, which I started doing this year because I thought it would really help, is I've been reading stuff all over and seeing videos and stuff that jumping rope really helps your kick.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, we're going to find out if this is true. But so I started jumping rope quite often. I've been doing I do 150 reps and then I do 4 sets of that.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I do 1 set of 50 just as fast as I can. And I use a weighted jump rope, so it's heavier and it kind of hurts your arms in the process too.
It does.
So it's like an arm workout and a leg workout kind of.
Yeah.
And man, it's actually really challenging. Like some people are probably listening thinking, oh, that's a joke, that there's no way that's hard. It's actually pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like people sleep on how hard it is. And I've always been one that's like, the kick's been the strongest asset that I've had. So I don't really know if I know like how much it's helped yet, but I definitely have been more confident since I've started it.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it hurts. And if you guys are want something to try and you want to work on your kick, that's definitely something to recommend.
Give it a go. Yeah, I can definitely confirm that your weighted skipping rope, jump rope, it's tough. Like I've tried it like twice, and I'll do like, I don't know, 1 or 2 sets of 50, and I struggle to get through 50 of them. And like, yeah, I mean, a normal skipping rope or jump rope, like doing 50 shouldn't be too hard. You might be a little bit like out of breath, but genuinely like getting through 50 with that rope is it's a workout. So that's kind of like generally what our sort of gym sessions look like. Nothing super intense. It's kind of a little bit of strength, a little bit of like injury prevention, just kind of like making sure your bodies are able to, I guess, like handle the mileage, handle the workouts and stuff. It might, like you say, the jump rope and that kind of thing probably do benefit your speed and stuff a little bit. But in terms of like actually benefiting a lot in terms of how you run, I don't know. But it's good to do a couple of times a week, nothing too strenuous. I think gym definitely helps, but you can't get too obsessed with it. Yeah,
for sure. I think it's like everything in moderation. Like you don't want to do too much gym to the point where it's hurting your running. But if it's like something where, all right, well, I can do it. And it's like, you can do it a couple of times a week. And probably help a little bit.
Exactly. Anyway, I think that's most of the questions answered. So if you ever do have any questions, just comment them down below. And in every new podcast, we'll try and get to like the most recent ones. So if you've ever got any, comment them down below. And if you're on like Spotify, get on YouTube, give us a comment, and we'll try and get them all answered. Anyway, moving on from the questions, Basten.
Touch on Nebraska. I want to hear about it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we both originally planned on running a 1K in Nebraska over the weekend. Just as like a good way of kind of, I guess, shocking the system. I haven't done too much in the way of like quicker stuff. And if we're planning on running, a few quick miles this indoor season and then moving on to outdoor, hopefully a good 1,500 or a few of them. Running a 1K as a season opener, I think, is a good way of just shocking the system and running something a bit quicker. So yeah, over the weekend, we went to Nebraska. Well, not we as in me and Basten, but me and the team. Basten had to stay home. And I ran a 1K. So a few of you might have seen my video on my YouTube channel. If you haven't, you might want to check it out. But yeah, I went into it kind of with a goal of just like feeling good and running about mile pace, like just quicker than mile pace to kind of feel good and like get a bit of confidence for opening up in a mile. So I was saying to, a few of the boys beforehand, like if I can run 2:25 for the 1K and feel good, I'll be reasonably confident, like going into, Milrose mile in a couple of weeks and probably Iowa State mile this weekend coming. So anyway, we got going, we got running, and straight away, like one of the guys from Nebraska, Kearney, I think the school is called, he took it out. I just kind of chilled behind him until like 500, 550. And then I made a pretty like strong move. I gapped the field, and I was feeling great, and I ran it in towards the end, honestly thinking I'd got the win. I was just kind of like cruising down towards the finish, and this guy came up the outside, Wes Ferguson. He's a 150, 800 guy, D2 All-American in the 800. And he passed me. He had the momentum. I realized he was there literally as he was like overtaking me. I don't know how I didn't know that he was coming, but that's the way it goes. He got the win, 2:23.8, and I ran 2:23.95 to come second. So solid opener. I enjoyed it. I felt good. Didn't get the win, obviously, but it's the way it goes.
Either way, that's a huge start and a huge confidence booster for you, letting you know that you can easily run the pace.
Yeah.
Just feel it out.
Exactly. And like, obviously, I mentioned in the video after the 1K, like that's 3:51 high mile pace. It doesn't obviously convert to that because, I wouldn't plan on going out in 2:23 for a mile.
Yeah.
But it is definitely a good sign that, I have still got a bit of speed endurance and that kind of thing in my legs. So hopefully, yeah, it'll pay off when we do get to racing a few miles. Basten, obviously, we were both meant to be in that K. What happened to you and how you been kind of feeling since?
Yeah, I got COVID.
Yeah.
Super
Stay
fun.
away.
Yeah. No. I got the Omicron variant of COVID, which if for those of you educated in the COVID realm of things, it's not the bad one. I basically just kind of felt like a cold. But it was kind of annoying. Like it was more like, I would say it wasn't affecting my running, but like when I was doing a workout, like if I was doing like repeat 300s, repeat 200s, repeat 400s, that kind of thing, like in between the reps, it would take me longer to like catch my breath.
Yeah.
And like longer for my heart rate to come back down.
Yeah.
So it was like a little bit harder from a recovery standpoint, but I don't think it really affected my training. So for the week that I had it, I was just kind of doing runs and no workouts, but now I'm back. Now we're ready for this weekend at Iowa State. And that's what we're going to touch on next.
Yeah. So, Basten back from the COVID. And now, yeah, hopefully this weekend, both of us probably. I didn't originally plan on being in it, but I think now after that 1K, I'm probably going to be in it as well. Both running a mile at Iowa State. So we don't really know the field at all. But I think we're both hopefully ready to run a decent mile. Wesley Kiptoo from Iowa State, obviously a like 13, 14, 5K guy. Indoor national 5K champ from last year. He's meant to be running. So hopefully he does. And hopefully we can kind of, get a good little train going and feel good and run fast. That's the goal. That's the plan. I know, Basten, you've already run 3:58 on that track. I've run 3:59. So yeah, what's kind of your thoughts going into that? What's the plan? What's the goal?
Sit and kick, baby.
Yeah.
I guess we'll go into detail a little bit more, but for those of you that don't know, Wesley Kiptoo likes to take his races out pretty hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Understatement of the year.
It's kind of, that's really is an understatement. He basically has done that every single race he has literally ever been in.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's going to be under 4-minute pace. Honestly, he might go out at 3:50 pace.
Yeah.
It's just about Fog and I staying under control behind him, obviously.
Yeah.
And then waiting for the right time to catch him and then waiting for the right time to move around him.
Yeah.
And I think we both kind of have it implanted in our minds. Like if we beat this guy, if me and him are fighting for the win in the last 100, we know we're going to get national qualifying times.
Yeah.
So that's like what we want to do. Like Fog and I want to battle this one out. Like
yeah.
We know that if it doesn't matter who wins between us, but if we both can run the time, then we both run the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. I think he's probably going to take it out pretty hard. And yeah, it really is just like a great chance for us to both tuck in, and hopefully run something pretty quick. Because I know a lot of people in the NCAA already are starting to run pretty fast. So
it's nuts.
Yeah, fingers crossed we can, tuck in and get ourselves a qualifier as well.
Moving on from Iowa State, that's pretty much all we had to cover today. We're really, really excited for what's to come for the next couple weeks. In a few days here, we're going to get Kevin Kelly on, who used to go to Drake, now runs for Boston Athletics Club. He's a professional over there. He's run a great mile time himself. He's good in the 3K, good in the 5K, a lot of depth and good friends with both Fog and I. So it'll be really fun to not only catch up with him, but have him on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then the following week, we're having Derek Rubis on the podcast too.
Rubis.
Sure you guys all know.
Yeah.
Instagram fiend. He's Fog and I's brother.
Yeah.
Nah, but we're close with him. We can't wait to have him on, hear his story about, first of all, how he got famous in the running world, what life has been like for him in the last few years, especially through COVID, and really what he's up to these days. Because man, that guy, I have no idea what's going on in his life, but I'm really, really excited to find out.
Yeah. I think it'll be definitely like really interesting hearing from Kev, because Kev went to Drake, as you were saying. He kind of like, he's run 3:57 for the mile. He's run 3:39 the 1500. He's a great runner. And he's kind of like in that semi-professional kind of sector at the moment. He's a graduate assistant now at University of Louisiana Monroe, kind of like coaching and training as well. So it'll be interesting to get that kind of different perspective. And then, Rubis as well will be an interesting one. If you don't know him, Derek Rubis, he's just like the biggest track fan in the world. We can't wait to have him on. I think it'll be interesting to hear from him. It
just seems like everyone in the running world knows who he is, and
he knows who everyone is.
Why, but I guess we're about to find out. So
it'll
be fun.
He just loves running. So it'll be good to hear from him, hear his running story, hear what he's been up to, and so even though we've had about a month gap in between episodes, hopefully that won't be the same kind of story for weeks going forward.
We're going to get 3 episodes out, including this one, obviously, in the next couple weeks. So get ready for a lot of content. You're getting what you're asking for, and hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah. So brilliant. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening wherever you are around the world. We might have some fans all over the place now, maybe.
Be kind of sick.
No, thanks for tuning in. If you do have any questions, drop them down below in the comments on YouTube. And we'll see you with Kevin Kelly, 357 miler out of Ireland, in the next episode.
Can't wait. Let's get it.
Oh yeah.